Meeting called to order. Please stand for the salute to the flag. Freeholder Seabold, will you please lead us in the salute?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. I have before me certification from the clerk that this meeting is in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Beasley, absent. Freeholder Bobadilla, absent. Freeholder Clark. Here. Freeholder Gill.
Here.
Freeholder Johnson, absent. Freeholder Luciano.
Here.
Freeholder Owens, absent. Freeholder Vice President Seabold.
Here.
Freeholder President Watson.
Here. Madam Clerk, are there any transcripts to be approved?
Madam President, there are none.
Okay, let's move to the public comment session on agenda items. If there is any member of the public who would like to comment on any agenda items, please come to the microphone, state your name, affiliation, and you have a total of 3 minutes to speak.
Good evening, Madam President, Freeholders. Chris Taylor, Chief Shop Steward, IBEW Local 1158. I'm here at the behest of Joe Calabro, our business manager, who is currently in Albany and makes apologies that he cannot make this meeting. We're here to speak about resolution number 1, the voluntary benefits program. Approximately 6 weeks ago, the administration called a meeting with all of the unions to discuss the changing of the benefits program from the current vendor Aflac to Transamerica. During that meeting, the unions had a lot of questions, even though we well understood it was a voluntary program. One of the questions that was asked is there going to be any lapse in coverage for people who have illnesses? We were told no. Another question that was asked was about the sick time and things of that nature. There really wasn't an answer to that. What we found out yesterday is under the current program, an employee, it's a voluntary program, it's not associated with the county in any way. An employee who goes out on sick leave gets to use their sick time, and this is an additional benefit. Under the new program, in order for an employee to start collecting benefits, they would have to exhaust all of their sick time. Now, IBW represents the bulk of the employees in the county. We have employees with 200, 300 employees in your own office with 300 plus sick days. Based upon that, if an employee were to get sick under the new plan and go out, they would have to be out of work a year, still paying into the new plan, before they would be able to exhaust the first benefit from under it. As a voluntary plan, we don't understand why this was put in. Even more so, we don't understand how a sick leave benefit, which is a union negotiated item, can be added into this plan at all. That no longer makes it voluntary. The sick leave is a negotiated item inside of the contract, and we believe that nobody, employees or anyone else, has the ability to alter the way sick time can be used without coming back to the union. So Mr. Calabro has asked me to respectfully ask the board to remove this item from the agenda, place it into one of your committees, bring in the vendor, bring in the unions, bring in administration, and thoroughly vet this program as to what the legalities and things of it are before it moves forward. Thank you very much for your time.
And thank you for your comments. Do we have anyone else from the public who would like to speak? And please state your name and affiliation. And,
good evening. David Weiner, President of
speak.
Local 1081 of the Communications Workers of America, located 60 Park Place, Newark, New Jersey. I rise tonight, Madam President, to address the very same resolution alluded to by my brother from the IBEW. I'll add this to what he stated. The fiscal impact portion of the decision memorandum that's in your packet, that's part of the contract, from Mr. Delgaudio, the risk manager, to Mr. Cella, the county administrator, states, because these plans are being offered on a voluntary basis and premium payments are the responsibility of the employees, there will be no fiscal impact on the county, unquote. However, there now are 3 mouths to feed. Before, right now, with Aflac, there's one broker. So whatever fee that they're getting, that fee is going directly to them. Now, the fee, apparently, according to this contract, has got to be split between Connor Strong Bookaloo, Winston Financial Services, and Transamerica. Now, that's got to have a fiscal impact upon our respective members that are paying into the, if they were to pay into the new plan. But unfortunately, the contract does not denote the amount of money that Connor Strong and the subordinates are getting for the plan. But in the health benefits plan, that Connor Strong is also the broker for the county, which is a contractual requirement to the employees. There, the fee that Connor Strong gets is delineated as some $200-something thousand per year for a 3-year contract. Why isn't the amount delineated here or within resolution number 4, which is also a contract with Connor Strong, where the amount is not specified, because the resolutions both say the monies are being paid by the insurance carriers. But those insurance carriers are getting their monies from, in the second case, from the county, and from the first case, from the employees who decide to take part in the plan. So we're requesting the following. We're requesting that again, as my brother said, that the contract be held up tonight and adjourned until the following occurs. That the administration shall convene a meeting of the Joint Union Management Committee, which is in our contract intended to study and recommend health care program benefits for the purpose of controlled costs. That's what our contract says, Article 20. And then secondly, the administration shall then reconvene, let me back up, the Freeholder Board shall refer the proposed contract to its Health Benefits Committee, which is one of the 18 committees that the Freeholder Board, as you know, has, that mirrors the responsibilities of the administration to oversee the administration. And thirdly and lastly, the administration shall then, after that's done, reconvene a meeting of the Labor Management Roundtable to present the circumstances to the union representatives holistically so we can understand completely what is going on. We appreciate your time and thank you very much.
And thank you for your comments. Do we have anyone else from the public who would like to speak on agenda items? Please come to the microphone at this time. Madam Clerk, that seems to be all of the speakers for this evening are coming before the board. No, it's not on here. That goes up there. Go away from the agenda. Okay, let's move, Madam Clerk, do we have any topics of discussion?
Madam President, we have none.
Okay, okay, let's take, Madam Clerk, let's move to the public hearing on ordinance O-2013-0005. Please read it. Oh, and for the record, please let the record show Freeholder Johnson is present.
Ordinance number O-2013-00005. Ordinance approving plan amendment to the Essex County District Solid Waste Management Plan pertaining to Limcor Incorporated.
Okay, I hereby declare the public hearing on ordinance O-2013-0005 open. If there's any member of the public who would like to comment for or against this ordinance, please come to the microphone and state your name and affiliation for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. No one from the public? Please state your name and affiliation for the record, please.
Good evening. Elmer Herman, Acting Executive Director and Authority Counsel for the Essex County Utilities Authority. We are here this evening in support of this amendment to the Essex County District Solid Waste Plan. The Utilities Authority is the regulatory agency in Essex County for the collection and disposal of solid waste. And it's our obligation to be responsible for the implementation of the Essex County Solid Waste Plan. From time to time, that plan is amended, and it is done so by way of initially a resolution that is passed by the Essex County Utilities Authority. It's submitted to the SWAC, and then it comes here to the Freeholder Board on first public hearing, second reading, and final passage. This is an amendment to the solid waste plan that we strongly support as the regulatory agency. It's in reference to Lemcor Incorporated, which is a transfer station and material recovery facility that we refer to in the trade as a MRF, which is located on Freelinghuysen Avenue in Newark in an industrial area. Some years ago, Lemcor received approval for an additional transfer station material recovery facility on Foundry Street in Newark. Foundry Street is east of the Turnpike in that direction. That facility is about to open. At the time, some years ago, because of the concern for proliferation of these type of facilities, it was determined that when the Foundry Street facility opened, the other facility that I referred to on Freelinghuysen Avenue that was in existence would close. Times have changed, and we have had not only not a proliferation of these facilities, but we have lost a number of them, which has caused some particular problems in the industry. And what we do before we come before the Freeholder Board, we always check with the host municipality. In this particular case, it's the City of Newark. And with your permission, I would like to read into the record a letter of support from the well-respected business administrator, Julian Niels of the city, in support of this application. And he states in part, the recent closure of several transfer stations, MRF facilities in Newark, has resulted in a situation where the city is receiving less revenue from host community benefit fees, as well as a loss of jobs. This condition will be exacerbated in the event that the Freelinghuysen Avenue facility of Lemcor is forced to close as a result of the original plan requirement. And the city, as the host municipality, recommends that this amendment be approved. The city, of course, as host municipality, does get host municipality benefits from these facilities and is naturally concerned with local employment.
No, 30 seconds.
The two facilities.
Let's move 30 seconds on. I'm sorry,
That's okay.
continue.
The two facilities that recently closed, actually one of them was called the Canadian Pacific Railroad, that we had as a public bid contractor for Type 13 Essex County Solid Waste. That was down by the airport, and that was a rail facility. They've gone out of business, and now SWT&R, which was right down the street on Freelinghuysen Avenue, has gone out of business. So as I said, the issue of proliferation of these facilities is no longer an issue. As another important factor here on this Freelinghuysen Avenue Lemcor facility, as I said, it's a recycling facility. As Freeholder Luciano knows, because when he served with us on our board and he spearheaded our recycling activities, we started out in Essex County as being number 17 in recycling, and we are now number 4. So this is important in that regard. This facility has 14 employees, 10 of them are Newark residents. The new facility is going to have 30 employees. So we feel, as the regulatory agency, as the implementer of the plan, that this is good legislation, and we urge its passage. And then what happens if this board sees fit to pass it? It then goes to the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection for their final approval and certification. Thank you.
Okay, and thank you for your comments and the additional information given to the board. Mr. Polyvecchio, do you have any questions or comments?
No, I don't. Mr. Herman did go through this at length, not only today, but explained it even to a greater extent the first time the matter was on, so I think he's satisfied all my questions. I don't have any additional questions.
Very good. Freeholders, do you have any questions or comments?
Yes, through you, Madam President,
Freeholder Luciano.
just want to thank Mr. Herman for his comments, and if you wouldn't mind stepping up to the microphone, where are we as far as our tipping fees? How we look there in that
Our
department?
tipping fees are the lowest in the northern counties, and we are determined to keep them there. We have the main contract that we have is for our 22 municipalities for the Type 10 for the processable solid waste, the garbage. And that's with the Port Authority, and we're in year 4 of a 5-year agreement, a government-to-government agreement. We're in the process right now of negotiating with the Port Authority for an extension of that agreement, possibly 5 or even 10 years, so that we hope we'll be able to come back to our municipalities in the next few months and let them know that they're going to have fees, tipping fees that are going to be actually lower than we have now, and going forward they should be low for a very reasonable amount of time.
I think that should be commended. Thank you, Mr. Herman. Through you, Madam President.
Just say that the tipping fee that the towns are paying right now is, for 2013, is lower than the tipping fee that they paid in 2009.
Very good. Okay, thank you again, Mr. Herman. Mr. McInerney, any questions? Freeholders, additional questions? Okay, freeholders, do I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing on ordinance O-2013-00005?
I'll move that, Madam President.
Moved by Freeholder Luciano, second by Freeholder Johnson. Do I have the same mover and second to approve the ordinance?
Yes.
Okay, freeholders, we have a motion and second to approve the ordinance. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Beasley, absent. Freeholder Bobadilla, absent. Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Owens, absent. Freeholder Vice President Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, let's move to resolutions 1 through 4. And Madam Clerk, you'll read that into the record at a later time. Ralph, we have some questions that came before us from the unions. Are you in a position to respond to those questions?
Yes, Madam President. Just as a preface, we've had multiple meetings with the unions, roundtable discussions regarding this voluntary benefits program. As you can see, at the 11th hour, I think this communication was checked in at 5:58 in the Board of Freeholders' office. The information that was presented was not accurate by the speakers. I would like to point out that their main contention about the AFLAC program for those county employees that possess it, by the county going with the new voluntary benefits provider, Transamerica, does not prohibit them from continuing their coverage with AFLAC. The only difference is it would not be a payroll deduction from the County of Essex. However, it would have to be paid by them. They can continue their coverages with AFLAC, so there's no harm, there's no foul. I would like to point out that AFLAC many years ago came into this county without a contract. They're actually providing the service to our county employees without a contract. They've never gone before this Board of Freeholders for approval. Unlike tonight's Transamerica contract, where we vetted it, we brought in vendors, it was evaluated. We've held multiple meetings, as I mentioned, with the unions. So, quite frankly, I believe we should move forward with these resolutions this evening.
The question, the question that, the information that was presented to the board from the unions, they seemed, the information was that if an employee voluntarily take this insurance on voluntary basis and they got sick, that they would have to use up all of their sick leave prior to receiving the benefits from this company that they voluntarily enrolled in. Is that correct?
Madam President, Alan Bromwitz, in part it is incorrect. There are different programs under Transamerica Plan. There is an accident, there is a disability plan. If a person is under an accident or is an illness, they would not have to use their sick time prior to getting the benefit. If it's a short-term disability, under that particular contract, yes, they would. That is correct.
Okay, just repeat that again. I want to make sure I'm understanding it.
There's several different types of plans being offered by Transamerica. If it's an accident or an illness, they would not have to expend their sick time. Only under the short-term disability plan they would.
So, okay, let me see if I have some additional questions from the freeholders, and then we can decide whether I can make a decision on where we want to go with this. Mr. McInerney?
Okay. First of all, I'd like to address the point raised by the business administrator with regard to Aflac not having a contract and Transamerica now coming before the board with the contract. What was the reason why Aflac didn't have a contract with the board, with the county?
Through you, Madam President, Aflac has never come before the board because Aflac just appeared one day. I've been with the county for 32 years. Aflac has been here approximately 16 or 17 years. In Human Resources, I've worked there all the time. I have no idea how they got there. They just started coming to our new employee orientation one day. And for whatever reason, they had never come before the Freeholder Board.
Well, okay, that granted, but we control who comes to those meetings. We control who has contracts with them. At one point in time, years ago, on a 401k side, Copeland never had a contract. It was an audit comment for many years. I raised that issue for many years. Eventually, Copeland was approved, and now it became MetLife, I believe, is the one that Copeland was succeeded by. Also, Lincoln came in under the Treffinger administration on the 401k side. They had to be approved. So, you know, I think if the issue is Aflac didn't have a contract, I think the responsibility may be with purchasing, in the sense that if everybody else has to have one, why weren't they put in a position where they had to submit a bid or an RFP of some sort, just like everybody else on these third-party pay programs? So, you know, that's an issue that can be resolved. Whether Aflac has a contract or has not, I would question that the administration, with the board, needs to move forward with that. On the issue of disability, there are two types. You're right. There's long-term and short-term disability. One, on disability, basically long-term operates on the premise that if you cannot continue within your own occupation, sometimes referred to as own OC, would trigger disability for the variance between what you used to make and what you are now capable of making. That in mind, and given what you said about short-term, what is the short-term period of time within the Transamerica plan? When you said short-term disability, what would you consider short-term disability?
Do you mean the amount they'll pay up until?
Yeah, in other words, like you said, that if it's long-term disability, then the sick leave does not enter into the picture. If it's short-term disability, it does. So the question is, how in the contract is short-term, in terms of duration, is short-term compared to long-term? What's the duration considered short-term? What's the duration considered long-term?
It's not short-term versus long-term. It's short-term versus accidental. Or it's the way that the occurrence happens that's going to determine how they're paid or not. If you're walking down the street and hit by a bus,
right,
that's considered accidental, they'll pay from the time that the occurrence occurs. Okay? A short-term disability is where if you have a prolonged illness, you've exhausted your sick time, but you're still going to be out an additional period of time, that's when they'll start paying.
So a short-term disability, if somebody has 250 days of sick leave, a short-term disability would be after the sick leave is used, then the short-term disability kicks in?
The way that policy is written, correct.
Okay, that I don't understand. I'll be honest with you. If I have it for my employees, I have it myself, if it's a private plan, I'm curious to know, and I would like to know why Aflac, I'd like to make sure that these terms aren't similar to Aflac. The union's saying they're not, but, I mean, why is it that a if I pay for my own private insurance policy on disability, regardless that it comes through my county payroll deduction, was really immaterial. Why is it that a benefit that I have under my collective bargaining agreement somehow is a provision of a contract? And that's where I can't put this together, that you've taken a provision out of a collective bargaining agreement and you've put it into a contract of which really is bought personally by the employee.
But it's bought as income replacement. He's right.
I'm sorry?
It's bought as a supplement income replacement. It's not to give you your full pay plus the additional in that particular policy.
But why change that? I mean, what is the rationale for going to a plan?
I could just, if I may, Madam President, just go one step further. It's our understanding that AFLAC is currently paying people on workers' compensation as well, which we're not even sure is the proper thing to do. So you're getting 100% of your payroll from the County of Essex tax-free, plus you're collecting additional 60% of your income from AFLAC.
Yeah, but I paid for the plan. I pay privately for the plan. I am not asking the county to pay for that coverage. The county has to pay me the workers' comp. What difference does it make if I have expended my own discretionary money to buy a plan that supplements on top of workers' compensation? What business of it is the employer? And so I'm having this real problem trying to reconcile the private use of my own funds for whatever purpose